Hello NBA fans, every day we have news about the Los Angeles Lakers. I'm a Lakers fan and I'm counting on you to subscribe to the channel and leave your like. Last season, the Lakers tried to sign Klay Thompson but were unsuccessful. The player preferred the Dallas Mavericks. Could this deal happen this season? Yes, it could, if LeBron James asks for a trade, since there are rumors that the Lakers and LeBron James are on a collision course. In 2026, LeBron could leave for free, so it would be better to trade him to bring in some players in return. Klay Thompson is a multi-champion and an elite shooter, who even as a veteran can help the Lakers in scoring and making three-point baskets. Klay Thompson could come to the Lakers if LeBron James asks to be traded. The Dallas Mavericks showed everybody last year that it's impossible to never say never in the NBA. While trading Luka Doncic was arguably the most shocking decision in NBA history, it also highlighted that NBA executives sometimes make questionable decisions. Perhaps Nico Harrison's was plenty worse than anything that any other team has ever done in the NBA, but who knows what else could happen in the future. In a recent trade idea from The Athletic's Fred Katz, there would be plenty of intrigue between the Mavericks and the Los Angeles Lakers once again. His trade idea would involve moving LeBron James to the Mavericks in exchange for Klay Thompson, Daniel Gafford, and PJ Washington. Future Hall of Famer Klay Thompson along with versatile contributors Daniel Gafford and PJ Washington would get the deal done financially. Dallas could trade a future first-round pick, as well, though draft picks would become complicated in a trade for James. Teams wouldn't be excited about giving up chunks of their future to acquire a 40-year-old, even if there has never before been a 40-year-old as good at basketball as James is now, he wrote. Landing James would be a great move, but it should only be done if the Mavericks believe they have a chance to win a championship next season. James is only getting older, and with Kyrie Irving's injury and his recent comments possibly suggesting that he won't return next year, it might be tough to justify adding James to the roster. At that point, it'd be him and Anthony Davis as the two stars, with a young Cooper Flagg. Of course, Flagg is better than what the Lakers had in terms of their young talent, but Los Angeles also showed that it can't necessarily win in the Western Conference with Davis and James at the stage of their careers. Mavericks expected to have Lakers LeBron James competition from Warriors, per NBA writer. It doesn't seem likely that the Los Angeles Lakers would ever move on from LeBron James, but after Rich Paul's comments, it's possible that anything could happen over the next few weeks to months. If he moves on from the Lakers, some have suggested that the Dallas Mavericks would be the best fit. On the other hand, some believe that the Mavericks wouldn't be interested in trading for James, but would be interested if he were bought out. Make or break year, Paul Pierce brings up Luka Doncic's contract while discussing DeAndre Ayton's crucial season with the Lakers. There's been a flurry of activity this NBA offseason as every team attempts to close the gap with the Oklahoma City Thunder in pursuit of next year's title. The draft was a strong one, and we're getting our first looks at some of the most promising young stars to be as Summer League kicks off. Some big names, such as Kevin Durant, Desmond Bane, Drew Holiday, and Norm Powell, found new teams in the trade market, while elsewhere teams have turned to free agency in order to improve. Perhaps no team in the league had a bigger hole at one position than the Los Angeles Lakers did at center. The Lake Show pulled off the trade of the century in landing Luka Doncic in February. The only problem was that they gave up Anthony Davis to do it. After a deadline deal for Mark Williams fell through, LA was left severely undermanned in the frontcourt, and that proved to be their undoing in the playoffs as they got bullied by Rudy Gobert and the Timberwolves in the first round. Thankfully for Lakers fans, help is on the way in the form of DeAndre Ayton. The former number 1 overall pick was cut by the Blazers just over a week ago, and he quickly signed with the Lakers on a 2-year, $16.6 million deal. FS1 dove into what the Ayton signing means for both himself and the Lakers on yesterday's show, and surprisingly, even Celtics legend Paul Pierce sees it as a great move for the purple and gold. He's pretty much exactly what the Lakers need, Pierce said. A lob threat, a guy who can rebound and be an interior presence. I'm not sure about a borderline all-star, but he'll definitely fill in some gaps that the Lakers need. Pierce believes that Ayton will be motivated to reach his potential while surrounded by Luka, LeBron James, and JJ Redick, something he hasn't quite been able to do in his first 7 years in the league after being selected at the top of the 2018 draft. You gotta understand, he was waived. I can't remember the last number 1 pick that was waived or bought out. Hopefully with the leadership in that locker room, with the culture, with JJ Redick, he can turn it around, because this is it. This is his last opportunity to try to earn some big money in this league. This is a make or break year. Both Luka and Trey are eligible to sign a 4-year, $229 million extension. Needless to say, both will be handsomely paid in the coming years. Ayton is still only 26, but Pierce is right that this could be his last chance to cash in after underwhelming in Phoenix and Portland. Fans and pundits have criticized Ayton's effort before, and those critiques will only get louder if he does it in LA, where the spotlight is so bright. If he performs, though, he could become a pivotal piece of the Lakers' post-LeBron future. Not only would that be good for a franchise that has traditionally employed some of the best centers to ever play, but it would be great for Ayton to secure his NBA future. The West is going to be even tougher than ever this year, but signing Ayton is a high-upside play that could give the Lakers a fighting chance to make some noise. NBA teams set high prices for their centers when the Lakers called for trades. The Los Angeles Lakers needed a starting-caliber center entering this offseason, and they got one in DeAndre Ayton. Before Ayton became available, though, the Lakers were seemingly facing a bit of a problem, as NBA insider Brian Windhorst reported that teams with centers to trade had driven up the asking price. Teams who had centers available were keeping their price for the Lakers high when they called, sources said, after they had established what they were willing to pay for Mark Williams, in February's rescinded trade. The Lakers were sending Dalton Knecht, Cam Reddish, a 2031 first-round draft pick, and a 2030 pick swap to the Charlotte Hornets for Mark Williams. They would later rescind that trade due to concerns regarding Williams' health. With teams knowing the Lakers were willing to give up that kind of package for Williams at the deadline, it's not surprising that the asking price was high. They also knew they were dealing with a team that was desperate to get a quality center next to Luka Doncic. It was reported that some of the notable centers the Lakers were looking to trade for were Nick Claxton, Walker Kessler, and Robert Williams III. Claxton was being touted as a realistic target, but it's possible the Brooklyn Nets were one of the teams that Windhorst was referring to. As for Kessler, well, the Utah Jazz's asking price had proven to be too high for the Lakers for quite some time now. The Jazz reportedly would have wanted a package that included 2 first-round picks and Knecht for Kessler back in January. Keep in mind, this was before the Lakers were desperate to get a big, when they had Anthony Davis. The price might have even gone up further after Davis was traded for Doncic. When it comes to Williams, though, you'd think even the Lakers' desperation couldn't have driven up the price too much. He has played just 26 games in the last 2 seasons for the Portland Trail Blazers due to injury and should have been attainable without giving up assets of great value. Perhaps it was those health concerns that dissuaded the Lakers from making a move, not the asking price. In the end, the Lakers got their starter and backup for the center spot without having to give up any assets. Ayton was signed to a 2-year, $16.6 million deal after the Trail Blazers bought out the last year of his contract, while Jackson Hayes returned on a 1-year deal worth $3.4 million. It's not a great rotation, but it isn't terrible either. The Lakers were forced to start Hayes last season after rescinding the Williams trade. While he fared fairly well during the regular season, it was crystal clear that head coach JJ Redick didn't trust him in the playoffs. Hayes averaged just 7.8 minutes per game in the first-round series against the Minnesota Timberwolves. Redick all but removed him from the rotation, and the Lakers needed an upgrade. Despite all his flaws, Ayton is a significant upgrade over Hayes. He averaged 14.4 points, 10.2 rebounds, 1.6 assists, 0.8 steals, and 1.0 blocks per game for the Trail Blazers in 2024-25. Lakers president of basketball operations and general manager Rob Pelinka believes Ayton is an ideal player to add to their core. There is very little risk involved here due to the nature of the contract, so even if things don't work out, this won't go down as a disastrous move. It remains uncertain where things stand on that front, but until he's available, it's a moot point. If and when he becomes available, there will be many teams looking to trade or sign one of the greatest players, if not the greatest, to ever lace them up. According to Bleacher Report's Greg Swartz, one of the teams the Mavericks might have competition with, as he ranked them in James' top landing spots, could be the Golden State Warriors. Pairing Curry and James together would be a treat for NBA fans and allow the latter to stay in California, just a short flight from his Los Angeles home. There's a few different iterations of a trade between these franchises, as a straight Jimmy Butler-James swap would work financially. Golden State could throw in one of its young centers, Tracy Jackson-Davis, Quinton Post, to help fill the void on the Lakers roster as well. The Warriors would be left with an aging yet still strong core of James, Curry, Draymond Green, Brandon Podziemski, Buddy Hield, Moses Moody and others to chase one final championship together, he wrote. The Los Angeles Lakers are almost always on the list of teams players want to play for due to their market size. This offseason, they have made some significant changes, most notably signing former number 1 pick DeAndre Ayton. However, another familiar face has expressed interest in joining the Lakers, according to the Bradley Beal era in Phoenix appears to be nearing an end. The Suns and Beal are increasingly optimistic that the two sides will agree to terms on a buyout, league sources tell The Athletic. The move would make Beal an unrestricted free agent, Katz said Monday. According to a league source, the list of teams Beal has thought about includes the LA Clippers, Golden State Warriors, Los Angeles Lakers and Milwaukee Bucks. The Lakers could find a way to offer Beal the biannual exception, worth $5.1 million in starting salary. Beal may not be what he used to be, but back when he played for the Washington Wizards, he was averaging over 30 points per game and looked like one of the best scorers in the league. For the Lakers to truly assemble a strong core heading into next season, Beal provides them with flexibility. He could come off the bench in a spark plug type of role running the offense that way, or the 32-year-old could line up as a starter, solidifying the Lake show with an intimidating starting five. If he does decide to leave the Phoenix Suns, Beal landing in Los Angeles should not be surprising, but it should scare other organizations. Why Lakers insider calls Andrew Wiggins trade with Heat unrealistic. The Lakers have talked to the Heat about an Andrew Wiggins trade, but right now it's looking like a long shot. The Los Angeles Lakers have talked to the Miami Heat about an Andrew Wiggins trade, but Lakers insider Jovan Buha says right now it's looking like a deal isn't realistic due to the Heat's asking price. Buha discussed the Wiggins situation as part of a Q&A on his Buha's Block podcast on Monday night. Buha recently reported Miami wanted Rui Hachimura, Dalton Knecht and a first-round pick for Wiggins. Clutch Point's Anthony Irwin initially reported on LA's efforts to land Wiggins. The Lakers want to upgrade their wing rotation, especially after losing Dorian Finney-Smith to the Houston Rockets. While Wiggins has stumbled in recent seasons after he earned an All-Star nod and an NBA title with the Golden State Warriors in 2022, he's still a valuable role player when not being asked to do too much on offense. LA needs more defensive help on the wing, and Wiggins could be that while being a fourth or fifth scoring option behind Luka Doncic, LeBron James, and Austin Reeves. The Lakers added Jake LaRavia to help mitigate the loss of Finney-Smith, but more talent is still needed for this roster. Unfortunately, the Heat are asking for quite a bit. While Wiggins would help, giving up a starter in Hachimura, a talented young player in Knecht and a first-round pick for a somewhat uneven player is a bit rich. Perhaps Miami will wind up lowering the asking price for Wiggins, but it's unclear if that will happen after a significant trade brought in Norman Powell as an upgrade. The Heat are looking to compete in 2025-26, so they're not just going to dump Wiggins for anything. If nothing changes on the Andrew Wiggins trade front, it seems as if LA will need to look elsewhere for help on the wing. But don't expect the Lakers to go down without a fight. There's plenty of time to work out a trade, and we'll see if either side blinks.